Hey friends, I wanted to share something with you today about an update on the parasites. But first I wanted to share something really cute that happened today. I lead the music in my congregation for church, and after I finished, well, while I was leading, so I'm up there leading, and I look over and there's this little boy going, it's my neighbor. And so I'm leading with one hand and waving at him with the other. It was so cute. And then after the meeting, he ran up and I said, I drew a picture of you on both sides of this paper. He threw it at me and gave me a hug. It was so cute. So that was a cute little thing that happened today. My sweet little neighbor boy. Anyway, so update on the parasite. So I have a little list. Hopefully I don't forget anything. And I'm hoping it will be short. So I'm trying once again to not do Coke. And hopefully you can see my eyes are super yellow. They just are really bad, especially in the center corners of them. And I think part of that, well, I know my liver's taxed, all the medications and everything, but I think part of that is I drink a lot of Coke because I'm so tired all the time. And if I don't drink Coke, I've tried several times to not drink it. It's not like I'm addicted because I can go days without it. I'm just tired when I do. So I have been drinking none, or if I'm having a bad day, like yesterday was a migraine day, so I drank straight Coke. But before that, for a week and a half, all I'd had was a little bit, I do half Coke or a third of Coke and then 2/3 water and then half water. So I drink watered down Coke, and that seems to be helping. The first few days I didn't do any Coke and I was just dragging. I was so tired. I just, you're tired. No motivation because I lay in bed going, I got to get up. I got to get things done. And I'm just so tired. I just lay there. So half Coke, half water seems to be helping. And I don't know what it is about Coke versus other ones. I think it's the neroli oil. Anyway, so if you're having the same problem I am, try half Coke, half water, or a third of Coke and a little bit of water. It tastes like crap, but at least I have some energy. People are like, take caffeine pills. I'm like, it doesn't work the same. I get jittery. If I take like Excedrin or something, Excedrin migraine, I get jittery. So I'm still doing the Sudafed Tylenol. Actually, I try to not do the Tylenol, but I went through a lot of ibuprofen and a lot of Sudafed and ended up taking the Tylenol. But I don't like to because I know it just hurts my liver. So anyway, there's that. Next, I have noticed a lot more biofilm now because look, my roots have grown out and it's time to dye my hair again. It seems like when I dye my hair, it kills the ones that are in this area, or it drives them away for a little while. And then the biofilm isn't as prevalent in the hair, and that's kept them away for a while. But I have them so bad now, they're not staying away, and my hair has started to fall out. The more parasites, more biofilm I have, the more hair is falling out. And I see women in my block, and I've mentioned this on other videos, they're like, seriously, you can see their scalp shining through their hairline, and they have a lot of the symptoms too. And so I really think that has something to do with the biofilm and the nematodes being in the lymphatic, or the second phase worms, whatever, being in the lymphatic, and staying in the hair follicle area to get moisture and creating that biofilm over it, and then the hair just falls out because they're being pushed out basically. Because my hair, I've lost in the last, just if I showed you what came out in the shower, what came out when I brushed my hair, what came out this morning when I was straightening it, it's like handfuls of hair. And when I was washing my hair, it's so much thinner than it normally is. I have a ton of hair, and my kids do as well. And as I was wringing it, it's just getting thinner and thinner in the last month, especially since I haven't colored my hair for a month and a half or whatever. So really, I've always thought that hair loss was one of them, but now I'm really seeing it in myself. I've noticed a lot more biofilm on the rest of my body. Like it comes back faster than it used to. So like I could scrub it off and wash it and it would stay away for a week. Now it's like a day or two and it's just back. It's coated. I think some of this stuff I've tried, and I mentioned this in some of the videos, that it killed them off some of them, and I could feel it killing off some of them, but it didn't kill off the bigger worms because they just burrowed into the muscle and whatever. So I think then their eggs hatched and created them. I have another massive infection because I've been having the heart-burning Loefflers, and I've been having a lot more heartburn and a lot more in my eyes and teeth, and so I'll get to those. But yeah, my load is heavier. I can feel it. The more bumps all over my body. So anyway, more biofilm, lots more biofilm. My teeth and my mouth and I've mentioned in some of the other videos, like I can feel, like it feels like pop rocks almost in your mouth when they're burrowing, and especially on your lips because they're together and you can, against something else, you can kind of feel them when they're right near the mouth. But when they're in the rest of the mouth or in the sinus, in the back of the mouth, it sounds, I can hear it inside my head. Like I can hear the air escaping from where they're burrowing. It's a little kind of thing, but feeling in my ears, I can hear it. In my mouth, I can kind of feel it and hear it. And it sounds like, I've been pondering this for a few days because it's been happening so much in the last 2 weeks. So I know my parasite load is so much heavier. It sounds like air escaping, like ice. You see air bubbles in ice, and then they melt to a certain point and they kind of go psst. Or maybe one carbonation bubble in a Coke or something. Just really sound in my head, but it's in my head. And it's interesting because I can hear it internally because it's happening in that area, in the sinus and the mouth area. And also, I wasn't going to talk about this, but my bladder also, it feels like the same thing. When they burrow out, it's like a little bit of urine leaks out, or air sometimes will come out depending on where they're burrowing. And it feels really creepy, but and I mentioned how a family member had surgery and they checked the bladder and there was all these little red dots in the bladder, which I know are burrow holes. So just know that there is some kind of, when they're burrowing in or out, there is some kind of release for a minute of a second, half a second, whatever. And I think the length of it and how much escapes, whatever, is dependent upon the worm and how big it is and how long it is and how long it takes for it to burrow or whatever. So there's that. And in my teeth roots, I noticed, I was trying to take a good picture the other day and I forgot to bring it, and it's on my camera, but I will be posting it. I can post it on an update on my blog, but because you're not going to be able to see it. There's a line in my tooth, and then I noticed there's now one back here and one in the base of that one. They're not dark, but in the sunlight you can see them, and it looks like I've drawn with a eyebrow pencil or a Sharpie or something on my tooth, like a tan Sharpie or brown Sharpie. And so much so that, you know, my kids will say, you got something on your tooth, and I'm like, no, it's in my tooth. So but I can feel them really, like at night, especially burrowing in my teeth roots a lot now. It's not as just infrequently as it used to be. It's a ton more. And so the other night I put some thieves oil in it, and normally I swish it around and I'll use my tongue to push some of the oils up in my gums where I can feel them. They're in my gums area. But I was just so tired, I just dropped some in and swallowed it. And the bumps are in the back of the throat where the parasites are burrowing up from the lungs. And I just swallowed it. I didn't swish it. So I could feel them all coming up here and out of the throat because I was laying down and I just put some in and it swallowed it. So it was burning in the back of the throat, and then they all kind of moved up to my teeth. And then I could feel like massive amounts kind of in my teeth as they are scurrying away. And so then I dumped some in my mouth and swished it around and stuck it in my gum areas. And then all of a sudden I could feel, like, for maybe a minute and a half, a school of fish. They were like, I could feel them all like moving and down the back of my throat, like they were trying to get away, and up in my eyes. And I could just feel this massive exodus from that area. And I thought, oh, there's so many. What do I do? So that was bad. I don't know. So I definitely have a lot more in my mouth area and my throat, my eyes. My eyes have gotten a lot worse over the last couple of months, just the yellow and more of them in there. I can see more shooty stars kind of a thing, and more shadows, like the eye doctor was saying. When those threads pass over the cornea, the shadow hits the retina, and then you have a shadow. So I've had a lot more of those shadows and recently as well. So I know I think that it's just, there's so many everywhere else that they're just going where there's not, like, less, and that's in the head. So, not so good news for me. I had a dream. I know I talk about dreams a lot, and a lot of people don't have dreams. I have one daughter that hardly ever dreams. I have one that has, since she was a baby, had dreams, and a lot of hers have come true, and I never had dreams that came true. I remember dreaming a lot as a child, but I don't remember, like, knowing what they meant and everything until I was older, and then a lot of them have come true as an adult. So I had a dream recently where I was riding a bicycle, and in my head, I was super confused, because I know in a car, you push down on the pedal for the brakes. On a bicycle, a small bicycle, you pedal backwards to brake. On an adult bike, you use your hands to brake. And as I was riding this bicycle, I realized I had all the information in my head, but it was all crossing wires. And I was like, I can't remember how to stop on this. Like, all of those methods, like, I knew them, but the signals weren't getting to my body. And I knew that I was not in my right mind. Like, I couldn't stop the bike. And so I just put my feet down, and I was going really fast, and my feet are like, it was kind of like a cartoon moment where I'm putting my feet down and I'm trying to stop this bike from going. And I was aware that I knew the information, but I couldn't get the information to the right place to react. And so I had to ask somebody else to basically drive for me, because I couldn't remember the concept. So I worry that it is affecting my mind, that with that many in there, that it won't be long before it is affecting my mind if I can't figure a way to keep them out of my head. So I'm either going to have to be bleaching my hair more frequently, or figure out how to cure, or apply more oils in my head area than I am, because they're waking me more at night in the back of the neckline. And I don't know if you can see the wiry hair. Maybe here you can see. Can you see it? It's really wiry, and it's really coarse, and you can see this is really, really wiry and coarse, and the back of the neck, it just gets like, almost like I can't pull it up because it's in a knot. It's super wiry as it comes out, because the parasites are in those areas. And that was one of the first things I noticed when they were up in my head here, is that the hair got super wiry, and I mentioned that in another video. But and then I can feel them burrowing out at night in those areas, and then I'll have sores in the hairline. I think the bleaching of it keeps them out of the neckline, and I've talked about that in another video as well. So I've got to figure this out, because I don't want my teeth to go black and fall out like my neighbors and my mom's and other family members. But I can feel them significantly in my teeth and my eyes, so I know that they're affecting everything else as well. Okay, mention that. Someone suggested a parasite killer that online, and I researched it that second that they suggested it, and I've lost the paper. I can't tell you what it is because I lost the paper. So I'm going to have to go back through all my comments for a while and look at it. But I did talk to a vet about it, and I went looking, because it was used in humans a while ago, and it is used in pigs, cows, horses, goats, sheep. And so the vet said that he hasn't been able to get it for many, many years. And when I went looking, like, wondering if it was still like available for humans or whatever. I was going to call my doctor about it, but I lost the paper that was in my wallet about it. But I did look at it at a animal supply store, and the only way I could see that they had it for sale, like they had it in the oral and injectables, but they couldn't order it. Like in the past they've had it, but they don't currently have it. Tridiazone or something. I can't remember. Anyway, I'll have to go through and find it again. But somebody suggested it and said that they had used it on similar parasites symptoms that they had, and it had helped them. Because so then I asked the vet, I said, what's the difference between that and something like a Corid that they use on animals for parasites or whatever? Because somebody else had suggested Corid, but that's not for humans. So I was asking him what the difference was between those two medications, and he said that Corid is used for digestive parasites, so like a giardia or something that's in the water, and amoebas and things that get into the digestive tract. But this other one was used for liver parasites, and so I'm thinking I'm going to try and see if my doctor can get that prescribed, because this is a liver issue. I mean, a lung. Sorry, did I say liver? See, the mind thing. It's bad. Okay, so that parasite cleanse is used for lung flukes and other parasites in the lungs. So the Corid is for gut, GI, and this other one is for liver, lung. See, scary. Hopefully I don't say anything else wrong on this video. So it's used for lung parasites. So, and it has been used in humans before, but for some reason, and the vet said that it had worked, and it worked great on the animals, but he just wasn't sure why he couldn't get it anymore. So at the feed supply store or whatever, they had them listed, but they said they haven't had it in forever, and the only way they could get it is in a drench. So that's on the outside of the animal. So I'm wondering why they would put it in a drench instead of doing it injectable or orally. But I'm wondering if it's a parasite that also does affect the skin, is the fact that they did it as a drench. So I'm hopeful if I can, and it's a tobacco-based medication. So it's a tobacco-based medication that gets lung parasites out, and they also use it as a drench on cattle and goats, I think, if I remember correctly. So that was interesting. So then I thought, I wonder if you made a little bit of that up and put it on your skin, since it was okay for humans, if it would get the worms out. But I wanted to talk to my doctor about that first. I'm like, I don't know. I think orally would be the best method to get that in. But so anyway, that was an interesting thing that has happened in the last few weeks that I've been researching. So I want to do a little bit more research on that and find out, but now I got to go back and find the name of it. I'm not sure what happened to the paper that I had with the name of that medication on it. So that was interesting. Then my doctor also, I talked about in another video how I had 3 dreams that I was supposed to eat fresh leaves of marijuana. Now, I have had this moral dilemma, and I'm still having a moral dilemma about that, whether, because in the research I did on the other video that I shared, Aboriginals who smoked marijuana had less parasites in their body than those who did not smoke marijuana. So I'm wondering, because it is a lung parasite, and maybe the similar thing going on in Africa where this study was done, maybe that the smoke itself kills them off in the lungs. Because in Parkinson's, people who use tobacco products, and I think Parkinson's is probably this parasite just because all the symptoms are exactly the same. And it's scarring kind of on the Anyway, I talk about that on another video, but I do believe they will find that there's a link. So people who use tobacco and caffeine do better with Parkinson's. So that was interesting. They didn't know why tobacco and caffeine helped people with Parkinson's. So I think maybe that part of the reason, so maybe medical marijuana would actually help in several areas, different ways. I have tried the CBD, I think that's the name of it, oil, and I have not noticed any difference in anything. So I don't think it's that per se. So I think it's something else. But in my research, after I had those 3 dreams about eating the leaves of the fresh marijuana, I researched eating fresh leaves and parasites, and I found that page where I shared that people could feel the parasites moving in their body and they were actually vibrating. And I had that experience once eating cilantro. So I am contemplating seeing about medical marijuana, because in the States, they usually have criteria for medical marijuana, and you have to have a rare diagnosis that less than a certain amount of people have. So I would qualify. I don't know if I dare do it. I don't know if I'm comfortable doing that. It seems like the last option. I want to try other things because I'm like, really, if it did work or did help, what am I going to do? Give to my grandkids? No, it's not something I want. It affects their brain, their developing brain. So I don't feel that is a viable thing for cure. I think it's a way to keep them down. I don't think it's a cure. So, but part of the reason I want to do it is I would like to be able to document what it actually did. Now, if it didn't cure them, which I don't think it will, because the people who were on the marijuana pages that I read that had a similar parasite situation going on didn't say that it got rid of them. It just said that it affected them. So I'm wondering if it would be a combination for a cure. So I would like to document it. So that's why I'm having this dilemma. Like, I'd like to try it just to document for the situation. So struggling with that. It's just something I was sharing. So I may or may not take care of, look into that. Just something I've been pondering. Testosterone. Okay, so I have a male family member who has lots of the symptoms that I have, yellowing teeth and tired, digestive problems, the hiccup after drinking water or eating something spicy. Anyway, quite a few symptoms that of the parasite. And his problem is he has too much testosterone and he is losing weight so much he can't keep weight on. So he's very thin. And I have another family member who I believe has it, and he's always been thin, quite thin, and I've been able to stay quite thin. And he kind of, doesn't look the healthiest sometimes when he's thin. Anyway, the girls that have the symptoms have a little bit more weight on and have, you can see I have sores all in my, where you would grow a beard. What happens is my friend's like, quit picking your face. And I say, you don't understand. I get an ingrown hair, a wiry hair, and I've never had this in my life. So, excuse me, I'm 50-ish, and I've never had hairs growing out, except when I was pregnant. I would have not black wiry hairs. I would just have long little soft hairs right here when I was pregnant. They just get really kind of long from the progesterone, I think. But since I've had this parasite, it's been progressively worse, where I would get one, black long hair, pokey hair, and then a little more. But in the last 2 months, even the fine hair is getting really long. I'm having more and I've never had a mustache per se. Now I'm getting wiry hairs growing here, and then I get these hairs growing down here, and they get ingrown, and I get a red bump, a really big red bump, and it's almost like it's infected, and it gets pussy kind of. And so if I don't pick at it and get the ingrown hair out, I just have, it's like this anyway, because I have 2 or 3 that are like swelling and pink and sore and bumps. And then I'll have all these scabs that are healing from the time before. And this is, if you watch my videos, I think you'll see a progression in the amount of face blemishes and chin blemishes that I have. There's just, and I have a sister that lives around me, who has the same problem. And my mother had the same problem. She started having this beard problem, and several of my girls have black, wiry hairs as well. And so I think they're dependent upon the load of parasite that you have, the more testosterone you're releasing, and then you're starting to grow this hair, and testosterone on women beefs you up. But on men, it makes you muscular and lean. So I'm thinking that the more parasites you have, the more testosterone you have, for whatever reason. That's what I've noticed in neighbors, women having this growth, and with my dad's testing and situations in the family. So I talked to someone this week who did a water diet. Now, I have not heard of this. I've heard of fasting, water fasts, or like food fasts, and just drinking water for up to, I know several people who have done it for 30 to 40 days. And, they would lose some weight, and they'd look kind of weak or not really healthy or whatever. But I ran into somebody this week who has some of the symptoms of the parasite, and he said, I said, "Oh, you look really good. What's going on?" And he said, "Well, I've done 2 water fasts or water diets." I don't know exactly the term because I've never heard of it, never researched it before. And I said, "Well, you don't look unhealthy." I mean, he looked a little bit pale, like he needed vitamins, but his physique and everything looked good. And he says, "Well, I've lost 65 pounds doing these water fasts." And I said, "Well, how long are you going?" And he said he did 42 days, once 48 days or something like that. Anyway, it was a significant amount of days. And I said, "You didn't eat anything or drink anything other than water for that amount of days?" And he said, "No." And I said, "That is crazy to me. Don't you feel tired or whatever?" He said, "People say after day 3, you don't notice it too much." Because I asked specifically, like, how long did it take you to not feel hungry? And he said, he said it took a week. He said day 6 was his breaking point where he felt like he was going to cheat or break, or he was like thinking all the time about food. And on day 7 to day 40, whatever, it wasn't hard. His stomach had shrunk and whatever. And I said, "Well, how is it some people are so unhealthy when they have these fasts and you're not?" And he said, "If you have body fat, you don't, it breaks down and your body lives on that fat. And so to get your body in the right place, you have to get rid of all the toxins in your system." And anyway, he told me there's a lot of research, and he told me that there was one man that was over 400 pounds, and he did the fast for over a year, and he lost most of his weight by just drinking, and you have to drink distilled water. So I thought that was really interesting, and I thought about it, but I have issues because when I drink water, I kind of gag or choke, or then I feel like all the worms are coming to the center where the water is and doing their little worm knot balls and stuff, because they're all coming to one central place. When they come to one central place, like when I drive them to my fingertips because I've been dipping my hand or whatever, or my arm, they do their little dance where they do a little worm ball or snake ball, and it feels like a drill is going in. And when I drink water, especially late at night, and I haven't eaten anything in a while, I can feel them all going to where the water is, and it feels like a drill kind of going into that area, or drill inside that area. It doesn't feel like it's going into it, but it's just where they're at and they're doing that. It kind of feels like there's a drill in there with the swirling. So I thought that was interesting. So I'm contemplating it. I don't know how I would do with no vitamins and no minerals, because I don't function well anyway. I have to take them even when I am eating healthy, and I've been really trying hard to just eat very healthy, not drink Coke, and many days I don't drink any Coke, and I been eating fish because I'm trying to help a fatty liver, and I've been reading up, and they say fish oils and avocado, those healthy fats, help the not healthy fats leave. So I've been really trying hard, and I did lose a few pounds, but it was extremely, I'm not eating a ton, and I'm not eating any sugar, and I'm eating one really big meal, and then I'll just eat some fruit and maybe a protein shake at other points during the day. But I've also, and I've shared this before, that I have to sleep an awful lot to lose weight. So that during that time frame, I've actually lost a few pounds. I've been sleeping 10 to 12 hours a day, and that is crazy amounts. But I dream so much, and I feel I'm burrowing so much, and I wake up and flip flop so much, and my body hurts, and I flip and I flop, and so I wake up. I sleep apnea, I'm not breathing. I'll wake up so many times a night that I have to sleep extra to catch up, if that makes any sense, to get a deep sleep. So I have to sleep through when the parasites are active, and then when they're not active is usually when I'll dream and I'll get into a deeper sleep. So that's interesting. But he did say on that water diet that a lot of people it cleared up his rash. He had a rash on his torso for 2 years. And he couldn't figure out how to get rid of it. They tried all sorts of creams, dermatologists, doctors, pills, antibiotics, whatever, and it wouldn't clear up. And I've shared about rashes that don't clear up with anything except keeping them dry. And so he said that this did clear up his rash, and it was the only thing that worked. And so I remember talking about the little girls in my neighborhood that had all come over, and they had the rashes, and they talked about it clearing up with when they drank water, it would clear up. And he said that many people that have done this diet, and he said there's videos all over YouTube about it, have actually cleared up rashes or parasites or whatever by doing this. Eczema and all sorts of things have cleared up and parasites will come out when they're doing this diet. So that's something to look at. I don't know if I'm in a place right now where I could deal with that, but I am thinking about it. It's kind of like the marijuana thing. It's in the back of my mind. It's there. I'm just not sure I can deal with it. So I had a friend over this weekend who was helping her make a quilt, and she drank some water, and then a few minutes later she just did one hiccup, and she's like, "Oh, I had a hiccup." I was like, "I know what that means." Yes, you did have a hiccup, but the only people I know that have done that are the parasites. So welcome to my world. But, most of the people that have the parasite will never know they have the parasite. It's just such a slow progression normally to get to that, unless you create a hyperinfection, then it comes on more quickly. But anyway, I just thought that was kind of, she had a hiccup. I was talking to a friend today, and she said, I can't drink water because it chokes me. It makes her choke. And I thought, oh, there you go. There's another person. You drink water and it chokes you. So I just think there's a problem. So anyway, and it's everywhere around here. There was a lady I mentioned in one of the other videos who had rashes that started on her leg, and then she scratched and it went all over. And she's been to, I don't know how many doctors now. Now this has been a couple months back, and they gave her all sorts of things, and it's still not gone. And I did try and share with her, use iodine and take NAC and use diatomaceous earth on top, because that is literally the only thing. And I felt the parasites burrowing under the surface a couple times last week, and I was like, uh-oh, I'm not doing that rash again. So I immediately put the Lugol's iodine on and diatomaceous earth, and I didn't get the rash. So yay. Yay for knowing how to cure that. So now I've had it enough and cured it enough with the Lugol's that it does work. So if you have a rash, you can't get rid of it, try the Lugol's and the diatomaceous earth. It takes a couple days if you already have the rash to get rid of it, but don't scratch, and it won't spread. So keep it as dry as you can. Okay, in our area in the last month, we've had at least 3 suicides that I know of. Now I'm talking within a 100-mile radius of, it's probably more like a 25-mile radius, because there's not much in the 100 miles around me. It's so sad. There's so much suicide. And I was talking to a man today who said his son, that is one of my daughter's good friends, almost committed suicide and he didn't even know it. And he was the father. And I shared with him, I said, let me ask you, do you take multivitamins? No. Do you use iodized salt? No. Do you eat a lot of baked goods? No. And I said, you might want to start taking iodine, like a prenatal with iodine or a vitamin with iodine, and crush it up and drink it, and tell your kids to do the same. Now, everybody I meet that's telling me about their kids are depressed or they're depressed, I'm like, take a prenatal vitamin and crush it up and drink it, because you can't assimilate it. So I shared with him, if you put the iodine states over the suicide states, they're very similar. So anyway, it's sad. We were discussing all the suicides in the area, and it's very sad. My eyes, I did talk about those already. So I think I've gotten everything in there. Keep sending suggestions, because I research them, and some I try, some I don't try. Sometimes I'm wondering if people are sending me stupid things that aren't real. I think I felt that, deleted a couple of posts from people, and then I think it was a serious thing, but I don't know. It's hard to know sometimes. People will say, well, cut your hand off, you'll be fine. Yeah, so you don't know. People are just stupid sometimes. But for the most part, everybody out there has been really, really good and sending in suggestions of things that have worked for them. And so I have a list, and I still am researching. You can tell by what I'm telling you that I'm still looking and still researching suggestions. I'm still trying new things. So hopefully we'll find something and take care of it. I'll let you know if I do try that medication that I need to go look up and find again. Darn it. I should make 2 notes. One I carry with me and one I put in my file about the medication. But I will let you know and keep you informed if I try something and it does work or it doesn't work, so that you won't spend money and effort trying it. But that water fast I thought was really interesting. So if you're going to try that, though, talk to your doctor about it. Do a lot of research. I'm not putting any of this stuff out there so you'll try it. I'm putting it out there so that when science looks at it, they'll know exactly what I've tried and exactly how it worked, and it's documented. So I'm not suggesting anyone do anything that I'm suggesting, and I have prefaced that on all my videos, hopefully, and on the instructions or the description. I'm not suggesting anybody try these things. You have your freedom and your agency to do whatever you want to do, but I am just putting it out there for science to look at. So if you're going to try something, please talk to your doctor about it before you do anything. But I hope we can figure it out soon, because I don't feel good. I don't look good. I want to feel better. So you have a very blessed day. Check out my blog. I'll try and update those pictures of my tooth line that I took. They're a little bit better, I think, than some of the other ones. I was just going to put them on the website that I'm working on, but I'll just make a blog post and put them on there just so you can see it more clearly, hopefully. Anyway, have a blessed day, and I'll see you soon.